Hey guys, welcome back in. It's Ryan Lipsey and I'm with Haley Collier and we're here with Tightcore Title Talk. What's up, Haley? How's it going?
Good. How are you today?
Doing good, just strictly following my routine on a Tuesday.
Getting into the power of routines. I mean, if there is nobody else better to talk about routines, I think Ryan definitely holds that trophy.
I'm nothing without my habits and routines. I would be lost. And I don't know, what are some of the benefits that you find in your routines?
Well, there's so many benefits to having a routine. We were talking a little bit beforehand. When you wake up in the morning, you have that shot of cortisol of, oh my God, there's no bears coming after me. There's nobody coming to eat me. It's just me laying in my bed wanting to pull my sheets over my head and just not get out of it. But the power of routine forces us to get up, get going, get those endorphins flowing, the dopamine. I mean, I know when I have my gym in the morning, when I hit that first before anything, I'm already ready to take on the day because I've either hit a PR or pushed myself already to a different limit. So the power of just having your routine of getting that 1 foot out of that bed, whether it be starting small, because we talk about what it takes 30, 60, 90 days to build these routines.
Yeah, to turn them into habits and lifestyles. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that it's like, I like a couple benefits I have is when I don't know which way is up, I know where to start and get back into my routine, and inevitably I'll find my rhythm, I'll find my flow. And then, running and physical fitness has become a routine of mine, not easily, but I definitely put it into my life. And so I've never been on a run where I didn't make it back from. Right. Mm-hmm. So it provides a certain level of certainty in my world, in a world that's absolute chaos. Mm-hmm. Like every day we're like in my control, out of my control, and there's a whole lot more on the side of the ledger that's outside my control. Right. But I can go and work out, or I can go read a book, or I can go sit on the porch with my cup of coffee and chill. That's all under my control to get my mind right, to bring my best version of myself to the day. And a lot of people are like, well, routines, I'm just not about it. I'm free-flowing spirit. I want to go where the wind takes me. But I push back on that by saying we all have routines. Look from the minute you get out of bed to the minute you have your first meal. Mm-hmm. I guarantee there's a regimen, there's a pace, there's things that you do in order, or do you brush your teeth before you shower? What do you do when you get in the shower? All of it has an order and a routine. So we're creatures of habit, and the mind craves familiarity. Mm-hmm. And routines give you familiarity because it wants to feel a semblance of control. So when I'm out of control, I know where I need to go, and it gives me that feeling of control, It's like the one thing we can control is our little routine, our little habits, and not just on the kind of physical and fitness kind of side, but also we're business people, we're entrepreneurs. So we have to have routines in our business so we know how we're growing our business. How are we scaling? I mean, we all feel it when you're not having your prospecting every single day or what you're doing. You start to see a little dry up in the pipeline, or any kind of business. When you're not doing your routine, when you're not measuring your numbers, when you're not hitting your metrics, it dwindles. So you have to stay in that routine, so you always have one paddle in the water or one oar in the water at all times. Yeah. Because as business people, we need to have those routines. We need to know exactly when our meeting consults are happening. We need to know exactly the hours we're prospecting and when that's happening, and we have that built into our calendar. So it's every day we see it: prospect, calls, nurture, meeting, calls, more calls at the end of the day. But it's it all is such a routine where it's I know exactly what I'm doing at all times pretty much throughout my day. There's no question or no oh, well, who should I call, or what do I need to do here, or what can I fix here? No, it's all built in, it's structured. It's I know exactly what we're doing at all times. Well, and those time frames you talked about are critical because it allows you time to cut those neural pathways and carve them into your brain. And initially, anything new, you're like, what? It's a new experience. Your brain is confused. You're expending a lot of energy figuring out all this new thing. Then the second time you come around, you're like, okay, I've seen this movie before. Mm-hmm. This is how this goes. The 15th time, you're like, okay, I get this. It's like a dark room. You walk into a dark room and you're fumbling around. You're confused. You're blurry-eyed until what?
You turn on the lights.
And once the lights are on, immediately you're conscious, you're aware, you can move forward. It's the same thing with new habits, new routines, except it takes longer to turn on the lights. You turn them on, turn them off again, turn them on, turn them off again. You got to go through that pattern until your mind acclimates, and there's pushback.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think they say we fear change?
Right?
Change is hard.
Yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable and your body rejects it, and initially because of the shock of the new. And once you acclimate and you educate and you familiarize, now you come to the point where you can't live without your routines. Like, I traveled recently. I was like, oh my gosh, get me back to my routines, right?
He found ways to fit in the routine.
Yeah.
He found the ways. Don't let him fool you. But even like the analogy of the lights going on and off, and knowing that even though you do it so much, even if the room's still dark, if you've done it so much, you know where the cupboard is or the cabinet. You know where the bed frame is, so you're not going to stub your toe again.
Exactly.
You know, you become familiar with what's in the room, what's surrounding you. So same with kind of like objections. Oh, heard that one before, on to the next. Like, you know where things start to come at you at. So that's why with the analogy with the room being dark, I love that because it's so true. And then you can get more comfortable and you know what you're doing each time you do it. You get a little more comfortable at doing it.
And the bonus round for routines is, Haley brought it up, it was a really good point, is you have the opportunity to experience flow. If you have, because success is not exotic, it's not all over the board, it's kind of boring. It's very repeatable, it looks the same, it looks regimented and looks scheduled. But when you're so at home in that schedule and that routine and those habits, there's a point where you look up, like yesterday, and it's 3:30 and you connected at 9:30 and you're like, how did it get to be 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
And that is flow, because you know what you're doing, you know where you're supposed to be, you know the subject matter, you know the people, and next thing you know, 4 hours, 5 hours goes by and you're like, what? It was like a wormhole.
Yeah, how did that happen? Well, that is the power of routines, and that's how it happens. You just put one foot in front of the other, and as to Ryan's point, is it's not some overnight success or not a very sexy topic to talk about. All the books we read, all the podcasts we listen to, there is a common theme. And the common theme the most successful people have is their routine. And that's when everything we hear or talk about, we always look at each other and we're like, we just heard this in a whole different way, and we are like just talked about this.
Right? And and to land the plane here and keep moving, but look at pro athletes, right? I'm a sports guy. I like Kobe Bryant. I like to watch on NFL Sunday all the warm-ups, and they look very much the same at the same time before the game, and what they're doing, which part they're stretching, how they're warming up. If there's a regimen to it, there's a flow to it, right? And so if the pro athletes who are at the very, very tip of the spear, top 1% of the people in their field are doing that, then we can take a page out of their book and do it in what we do.
Exactly. So we're huge on routines. If you need help kind of finding your routine, kind of helping however you can set your schedule up, hit us up. That's what we would love to help out with. We're your business partners on that front, and any ways we can help, that's what we're here for.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate all your support. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Haley.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.